I'm Rachel Olson, founder of Best Mom Products, where mompreneurs share their adventures in business. Today I'm talking with Linda Lewis, founder of Baby Flipple. Flipple is an adapter or funnel that turns any standard bottled water product into a baby bottle. Just add your formula and pop on a clean nipple for a baby bottle on the go. Linda, grandmapreneur, quit her full-time job in manufacturing of 30 years and sold her house, car, boat, and 401k to fulfill her dream of bringing her product to market. Today we'll learn how Linda realized her aha moment and used her expertise in manufacturing to create Baby Flipple, which is now sold at Bye Bye Baby and Midwest grocery chains. Let's get started. How did the idea come to you, and what year was it?
Okay, like all great inventions, it came to me through necessity. That's when I was a very bad grandmother, and we went out boating with my grandson, and we left the baby bottles behind. So we had bottled water, and we had formula, and he was 9 months old, so we just funneled formula into bottled water, and he drank because there was no place to buy new bottles. So he survived the day, and we all survived the day with a lot of crying and pain, and he was a real mess because he wasn't able to drink from, a water bottle yet. I got thinking, this can't be the only time this has happened. So my kids and I spent the afternoon talking about what if? And I thought, this is really something I need to try to do. So I went back home and spent a lot of time at my kitchen table measuring and cutting and just figured out a way to make it work. So I've been working on this for probably 4 years now. It just actually has come to market a year ago. So it's a real timely and expensive process.
Yes, I'm looking forward. I think you have a product with you. Do you want to show everybody what it is to give them a better idea?
Absolutely. This is how you would find Flipple now in the retail stores. As you can see, it's got a nonverbal illustration, which is very good on your packaging, keeping it crisp, clear. So anyway, this is where you'll find it. This is the actual product. You just take any brand bottled water. This is Flipple. You screw it on, so now you have a funnel, so you can easily add that formula to the small opening of the water bottle. You unscrew it, you flip it over, screw it back on. This is any standard nipple collar, and that's it. It's that simple. So there you go. You leave the baby bottles at home. There's no cleaning at the end of the day, and you're already carrying bottled water and baby bottles. This just guarantees safe feedings while you can kind of make your day a little less stressful.
Right. No, definitely on the go. I can definitely relate. I have 2 young girls, 2.5 and 4.5, and I definitely have forgotten bottles. And after I was done nursing, and I remember just being out thinking, oh my God, and they're so clunky. So this is definitely, when I heard about your product, I definitely thought of it as like why didn't I think of that? But
and you'll really like this next stage is my sippy top. It's a transitional sippy top. So all you do is take all the components you already have and put in this nipple. It's a sippy nipple. So just take the nipple out and put this nipple in, and now you have a sippy top.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
So that's phase 2.
Wow. So the sippy cup part, is that on the market yet?
No, this is a prototype.
Oh my gosh, how interesting. Okay, good. So now that everybody understands what your product is, because I wanted you to show it, I don't have everyone show their products, but I feel like it's new to market, so it's something that would be good to show and get a better understanding for.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
So you're such a wealth of information. I don't know how I'm going to narrow this down to 30 to 45 minutes, but you have a huge background, 30 years in manufacturing. So so you have the idea. Tell me about kind of how you brought it to market. What was your experience in manufacturing, and how did that apply to this product?
Okay, well, my experience really helped me because I kind of understand material and testing, raw material testing. But you don't really need to know that. You can't be an expert in everything. What I would suggest, what I did was I went to a machine shop. I had a working prototype because I cut apart baby bottles, and then I cut off the top of a soda lid, put that inside. So I actually had a working prototype. So I took that to a tool room or a machine shop, and they put on a lathe and gave me an actual prototype that was, again, functional. At that point, I had CAD drawings. Now, what I would highly recommend is either find a machine shop and then ask them. They're doing all kinds of work for all these other businesses. Mine happens to be injection molded, and so they do work with injection molders. And so you can say, all right, who's a good person, who's a good business now to source my product? And then, who would be somebody that I could go to manufacture my tool? Because just because a machine shop can make you a prototype doesn't mean they're qualified to build this expensive production tool.
Okay, that's interesting. So can we back up a little bit for the moms listening that just have an idea and they haven't even broached on this yet? What is a machine shop? What is an injection mold? Can you kind of decipher how did you know just to look for these things, and where do people find them?
Okay, you can let's see. If you were in a town, I would go to an auto, like a car dealer or somebody, and say, can you recommend a machine shop in town? So go to your mechanic. He'll know, because anybody that needs to have anything rebuilt, and in the manufacturing world, auto body places always have to have things rebuilt. They'll be able to recommend you to somebody. Or you could just Google, machine shop, and I'm sure you'll find something. But again, just ask around. Something else you could do, like what I did, injection molding is when you have a plastic part. And so what they do is they kind of build you a tool that's like an ice cube. So they take this plastic, these little pellets of plastic, and they melt it down, and then they inject it into your tool, just kind of like you'd make ice cubes, only a lot more complicated, of course, and so if you can find an injection molder, and you can Google that, all right, that's very easy to Google. I would recommend trying to source it between 3 and 4 hours of your house so that you can drive there. There's nothing that beats face-to-face when you're dealing with these people, talking to them and showing them your concepts, all right? And then you can say, this is what I want to do, can you recommend? You can ask them, because they use all of these tools. You can ask them, all right, who would you recommend build this tool so that you can manufacture my part? So you decide which way you want to go. You could start at a tool shop or at a repair shop, and work your way up to sourcing your product, or you can source your product and work your way backwards to find all the different stages you need.
Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, so tell me, what did you do when you were in manufacturing?
I was a buyer for probably 25 years, so this really helped me. I was familiar. It's in manufacturing. It's got nothing to do with what I'm doing now. But it did help me. It helped me. I bought raw materials and packaging, factory supplies. And so that was all very helpful. And then 5 of those years I worked in a lab, so I learned how to tear apart products and test them. And then I also learned about, like your different certifications like ISO and traceability and that. So it's really been helpful, a little helpful. And don't think that you have to have this background to be able to get to where I've been able to get. If you do what I just said, you're likely to get your end result.
Okay, great. I mean, you're a wealth of knowledge, and I think I told you this before. I'd probably love to have you back again just to talk about your experience in manufacturing.
I could talk forever on
that. But then, so when they have a prototype and they show up at, let's say, the machine shop, and they make their meeting and they go through it, and then are they charged? Were you charged for your prototype?
Oh yes, nothing's free in this world. The prototype, what they did, there's a piece of equipment called CNC, and that's where they take a solid piece. In my case, not all cases, but in my case, they took a solid piece of plastic, and then they put together what's called a CAD drawing, and that just tells this piece of equipment what it's supposed to do, and then it just shaves it. And it just spins and spins and spins, and it just, out of that solid piece of, rod, you end up with a piece just like this.
Okay, so what happened? Can you share how much did the first prototype cost you?
$200.
Okay.
But that also included my CAD drawing. So that I thought that was just very reasonable but it really helped that I had an actual part for them, to hold on to.
Right.
There was a little bit of research, but, not a lot.
So yours was...
But I wouldn't underestimate what a machine shop can do. They're full of engineers and people that know how to do this stuff. So,
right.
You won't be the first person to go and approach them. So, and machine shops are hungry for work nowadays. So they'll give you your time.
Right. And you're located in Midwest, kind of in the Chicago area. Is that correct?
I'm about 3.5 hours. I'm in central, West End.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not close. I source everything out of St. Louis.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
And another thing is, right in my hometown, which is Galesburg, Illinois, there's a shop that could actually make Flipple. But I went there, and it was filthy dirty. There was papers stacked high on top of every file cabinet, and you have to then, I'm thinking, it'd be so convenient if I could just drive 3 blocks and check out things. But then you have to look at the surroundings, and they just didn't meet the standards. I'm not going to make a baby product unless the facility is squeaky clean. I think that's very important. That's why I think, the closest isn't always the best, and the cheapest isn't always the best.
Yes.
As we learn usually through error or mistakes.
Right, so take me now, you get to the point where you actually have your prototype, and you go to manufacture it. So tell me about that process. How long did it take you to actually find the manufacturer that you wanted to work with?
Well, I asked the machine shop if they knew anybody that was capable of making this type of a tool. All right, so they recommended me to this tool shop, or mold or tool shop. Mm-hmm. And so I went there, and I showed them the part, showed them the CAD drawing, and something else I always recommend, maybe not at the machine shop level, but anything above that, from there all the way through the rest of the product's life. Always get 3 quotes.
Okay.
Because you would not believe how they could vary. And then it allows you to, say, well, this person's quoting this, and you could talk to, your other manufacturer or the other tool room and say, why is there a difference in the materials, or why are they $5,000 less than you are, and then it's kind of a way of checking, the quality of what your end product's going to be, and then it also educates you all along the way, which, anything you can get out of these manufacturers is just a wealth of knowledge. Just suck it all in.
And are they willing to give you that information? Are they just willing to sit and meet with you for hours and tell you, like, this is the process?
No, you're a very small fish in a great big pond. So, just try to be, they will meet with you. Just try to be as brief as you can and just listen to them. Just say, you could even take in the other quote that you might have and block out the pricing and say, okay, this is what they're quoting, and here's what you're quoting. Can you explain the difference? Why are you so much more than they are? Or is there something in their quote that maybe, they should be including in theirs? So you can compare what's being quoted, and I would highly recommend that. But it's really kind of unethical to share the pricing.
Okay.
So you'd want to kind of block that out.
Okay. So
when you get close, you can throw hints, but just be real careful with that. You get the one that you're going to want to work with, and if they're out of your price range, you just have to work with them and just say, man, I really want to do business with you. What can we do? Here's what they did material-wise. What can we do to get you there?
Okay. And are they usually willing to work with you, or it just depends on the relationship? Did you feel like you had a good relationship with the person you ultimately ended up with? Why did you choose the person or the manufacturer that you ultimately ended up with? What were the deciding factors?
Quite truthfully, I ended up choosing the wrong person, the wrong company. What I did was I wanted the absolute best tool that, you can buy, the best material, the best everything. And that was kind of a mistake, because with the new product, if you think about if you have a product that's sewn, you're always tweaking it. And when you're sewing something, it's really easy to adjust a hem or something, a seam, to make the product fit better. But in manufacturing, it's very expensive. So I think I was wrong in wanting the best tool I could get. I had some quality issues. Even though I did have the best tool, I had some quality issues with this company. They were dishonest with me, and I told my manufacturer what was going on, or he was well aware of what was going on, because they were having problems running the part. And I said, well, what would you suggest I do? So now I'm at the people that are producing the part, and I'm saying, I don't know what to do. What would you suggest? And he said, well, there's another tool room, go talk to them. And so I was able to send my tool to this other tool room, and they looked at it, and they were like instantly able to identify what the problem was. And had I not done that, my original tool maker would have fixed the problem for $3,000. But by this competitor pointing out their error, I got it fixed for free.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah. So again, it's just network. Talk to people.
Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, excuse me?
No, I said, sorry to cut you off. I was just saying that I've noticed that just by talking to you, you're very open, and you're always asking for advice, for the expertise advice, and going through that process. And I think that's a very important thing to point out as an entrepreneur,
Absolutely. And kill them with kindness. Absolutely kill them. Be so humble. Let them know you're starting up, you have great plans, limited resources. This is you doing it all by yourself, and you want to do it in America. It's stuff that they're really going to love to hear, and say, I want you to work for me. Will you help me? I have spent, with that new tool maker, I've spent countless hours with them now developing new products. So they're happy about that, so now there's a lot more business coming their way.
Right. So tell me, let's shift gears a little bit. What is the minimum run that, you're stressing made in the U.S.A.? Your product retails for what right now?
Right now it retails I'm trying to get it around $5.
Okay.
Because I understand, you can buy baby bottles for $7 or $8, nice ones. You can buy cheap ones for $1 or $2, so I'm trying to be right in the middle of there. So $5 is what I'm selling it for.
Okay, so it's a pretty inexpensive product, all in all.
Right.
I mean, it's affordable. What is the minimum production run that you have to do in the Because I've talked to a lot of people that do overseas, and I'm trying to get a grasp, and it just seems so all over the board to me.
Well, in the United States, you can get, like I'll do a run of 2,000 pieces. You can run less. You can run 1,000 pieces, but there's a setup charge.
Right.
And so if they have a $500 setup charge, then they're going to, and it's not that high. I don't know how high it is, to be quite truthful. Yeah. But they just divide that out and work that into your part. And so if you order 1,000, let's say your part costs 50 cents and your setup cost is 25 cents.
Right.
On a 2,000 order, it's $1 on, a 1,000 piece order.
And then the setup cost is a one-time fee. Is that correct?
Right. They have to shut. No, not really.
Okay.
No, not at all, actually. The setup fee is what I'm talking about is when they have to shut down the piece of equipment, remove a tool, and put your tool back in, and then hook it up electrically, plumbing wise. It's usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And so they have to charge you for that machine time.
Okay.
So every time they put my tool into this, the injection molder, piece of equipment, I get charged like this 2 hour rate.
Right. Okay.
And again, they work that into the pieces.
So but is it a choice? Would they ever give you just a flat rate, or they automatically work it in without you knowing really what they're charging, right?
Yeah, no, you asked for quotes. Oh, sorry about that. I forgot with everything we went through. I still had my phone. You ask for quotes before you build anything. What's it going to cost me? And, say I want quotes for 1,000, 2,000, and 5,000. And then now I'm doing like 5,000, 10,000, 25,000.
Okay.
So, a setup key is something you'll never get around,
okay.
unless you're doing millions,
right.
Or 100,000. It'll be so small you'll hardly notice it.
Okay, so I know that you're passionate about being made in the U.S.A. You're manufacturing in the U.S.A.
Absolutely.
So tell me, is this a patentable product?
It is. In fact, I just have gotten my patent, and
congratulations.
So I'm going to warn you of something else that happened, which I couldn't believe this had happened. I put in my patent, request like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's still under review. Well, it was under review. In one of the searches, they found out that just a year ago, there was a product that was almost identical to mine that was issued a patent. And John Herrera out of Sacramento, California. And I'm like, what am I going to do? However, about a year and a half ago, I realized, how I said that you're always tweaking and changing. Well, people don't know this, but water bottles have different neck heights and thicknesses and thread pitches. And you can figure all that out if you take, for example, a soda bottle lid and try to put it on a real generic water bottle. It won't work. It'll leak. Well, what was patented by John only worked. So you had to have, one adapter for this type of bottle, another adapter for this type, and a third adapter for the other type. There's actually 3 types in the United States. What I did was I found a way to incorporate my product where you can use any of the bottled water products. And to do that, I put in like 4 or 5 new elements. So now I put in I modified my patent to include these new changes. So it's still patent pending.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I thought I'd better get a hold of John and see if I could see what he's doing and see if I could buy his patent off him. And so that's what I did. He hadn't done a thing with it. He recognized the problem that you had, and he didn't know how are you going to educate, your customers, which product to use with which bottle. And plus, I think he realized how expensive it was going to be. And so he just sat on it. And so I bought his patent from him.
Wow, that is fascinating. You're a go-getter. It's very interesting. You see somebody with a patent with a similar product, and you have different tweaks, and you just went right after him. Did you just not think twice about just picking up the phone and calling him?
I did. You have to kind of weigh what it's going to be now versus once I get successful. If all of a sudden I get, say, Nestle, who makes Enfamil, Ice Mountain Water, and they also own Gerber, say they pick up Flipple, then all of a sudden, for me to go and make sure I have a patent, and so now I'm a little nervous because, after this happened, I want to, I'm just skittish, so
right.
I thought, I'm going to buy that because this is going to be the cheapest I could buy it.
Right,
now,
fascinating.
If I wait 5 years and say FEMA, I'm working with FEMA trying to get them to put it in their emergency rescue bags and that. If FEMA gets it, then, and I get all kinds of notoriety, just trying to buy that patent is going to be a lot more expensive.
Right. You're very smart. Good for you.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit of a different route. So you have all of these costs, and you had said that, you sold your home and your car and your boat and your 401k. Tell me about that process and where you're at today.
That's very true. You buy a patent. So what I did was, we had this great idea, and it's like, I had kids in college and I was my own income. I just didn't have any extra money. So I'm thinking, what can I get rid of? And the first thing that came to my mind was my beloved boat, where the idea was crafted. It's like I had to sacrifice that. I was like, oh, this is horrible. And so I used that, and that got me going. That got my patent going. That got my prototypes and everything that I needed. But then you spent all this money, and then you're out of money. And you still don't have anything you could sell. You're nowhere close to having anything to sell. And so you just start looking around and start liquidating things. And, I kept thinking, well, I have this car, and, it's got 100,000 miles on it, but I think I could get 200,000 out of it if I have to. So I don't need a new car. I'll just drive this for the next 4 years. That makes sure that I don't have to worry about that. And then I started just selling stuff, and I had a great experience. I was able to retire from my job, and I had met the man of my dreams, do that at my age, believe it or not.
I love it.
And so we got married. And he had a house and a car, which worked really well for me. And so what I actually did was I borrowed his car, and I didn't give it back until he married me. And so that works too,
This is good advice.
Yeah. If you could get it to work, it is. And so I had my house to sell. So I basically showed up at the door, with nothing but the clothes in my suitcase, and I put absolutely everything else into the product. And I tell you this, I'm joking about it, and it's actually true. I've gone through, I haven't gone entirely through my 401, but as I need money, I pull more out and that. It gets really big. If this thing snowballs, and especially if you're looking at doing something over in China or overseas, because they expect you, they have large minimum orders, they expect you to pay for the stuff before it ships, then you have 4 weeks on the water clearing customs, and then a little bit of transit getting to you, and then you have something to put together so that you could go sell. So, and then most of your customers have 60-day terms. So you can count on your money being tied up for as much as 6 months.
Wow.
And, that's one reason. And that's not the main reason for me wanting, of course, to be dedicated to making production in the United States. But that's something you really have to think about. It's called landed cost. You have to figure out what all those values are. What's the value of your money being tied up? Say you order 1,000 pieces, you're not going to get paid on that for 5 months. And now you got a big order coming in, and now you need 6,000 pieces, and all your money's tied up on just the terms from that very first order. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to explain it in a way.
Yeah, it does. You're very knowledgeable. It's a good way of pointing out, because I think a lot of people make the assumption, go to China, go overseas, it's going to be so much cheaper and so much easier, and then it's kind of like the chicken and the egg, you're trying to figure out where's your money coming from, you're paying out, and then you also, if you're going retail route, you're not going to be paid out on that even longer than that. They're not going to buy it from you up front. So I appreciate you sharing that, because I feel like it clarifies it, because people feel very adamantly that I talk to. I feel like manufacturing is such a hot topic with every single mompreneur that I talk to. It's, You know, I feel everyone feels like they can't make any money if they don't go overseas. So let's kind of move into the area of sales and marketing now. So you're in Bye Bye Baby and some Midwest grocery store chains. How did you make that leap? How did you get your foot in the door?
I went to trade shows, and again, that's really painful because trade shows are very expensive. You know, I retail my product for between $2.50 and $3. Trade shows cost $2,000. Plus, you have to fly there. You have, all your expenses while you're there. So there's no way you can, break even. That's where my 401 came in. But you have to do it. At these trade shows, I went to one that's called ABC Kids, which is the biggest baby trade show in the United States. And that's where I met Bye Bye Baby. I also had showed it to Walmart.com and, some other big hitters, and so then you just come back and you work it, but you have to do that. Or you can start out at, your fairs, like kid fairs that they have, or kid expos. I walked around, I had to look ridiculous. I'm surprised people didn't run from me. But on Michigan Avenue, up in Chicago, on Lakeshore Drive, I had like a cooler full of water, and I had Flipples in a bag. And whenever I saw somebody with a baby, I gave them a bottle of water and a Flipple and asked them to just walk around with it on their strollers. And I explained it to them. And so I was just handing out all kinds of free products, I can't believe people would even talk to me,
Yeah, but what did they have to say about it? Did you get direct feedback from them?
They all loved it. Everybody I gave it to, said, oh my gosh, I haven't gotten any feedback from anybody. I didn't really ask. I was starting out asking, having a little questionnaire, and I thought, people are there on vacation. They're not wanting to, do a questionnaire. So I gave up on that. I just said, here's the product. I just ask that you use it. If you don't use it, please give it to somebody that will. And I said, would you be willing to put it on this bottle of water? Here's the product. Here's the nipple cap and collar. But, it hasn't been sanitized. You have, clean nipples in your bag. Of course they did. I said, just put it in this, use it. And they go, sure, we'll do it. And so it's so much fun. I'm walking around all day, and pretty soon I'm dragging and I'm tired, and I'm seeing all these strollers with Flipple on top of bottles, And people.
I think that's a great idea, and it's very grassroots. But I mean, let's talk about like the bigger picture. You're in these major stores. Do customers know to look for this product?
No, they don't. So what you have to do. You can go into the stores and do a demo, but that's really hard. For example, one of the grocery stores I'm in the Midwest, so I'm in Hy-Vee, Schnucks, County Market. Who else? I just went to a trade show and have picked up a whole bunch more. But you can't go and do store demos. Bye Bye Baby, I'm in like 45 of those, and they're all over the country. So you have to work with the marketing person. And with Bye Bye Baby, that's the way it is. And just today, I sent her an email with all kinds of recommendations on how to sell my product, how to educate their associates, on the product. And then I just bought advertising. This is the first major advertising I bought. And it's a magazine called Healthy Moms and Babies.
Oh.
And it's in, I don't know if you're familiar with it. I haven't been in the maternity section for a while, so I don't know what's on the tables, but it's got a large circulation and a lot of followers online. And so this is my very first way of building awareness for my product.
Great.
Those are the mothers, those are the people that are going to look at it, especially if they already have a child. They're going to be looking for convenience.
Right.
So that's what this product is.
It is.
So,
it is a product of convenience. I want to ask you, how did you, I want to go back to Bye Bye Baby in a second. A few things, have popped up. So one thing is, earlier in the conversation, you said it retailed for about $5 retail, and then you just said before you were going to the trade shows that it was $2 or $3. So was there a version before that was $2 or $3?
Well, I came out with, I'm sorry, it wholesales.
Okay.
250 or 3. I apologize.
No,
for that.
maybe I heard you wrong. Okay, so that's good to know. And then I was curious, how did you decide on Healthy Moms and Babies to do an ad, and how much did that cost you?
They saw my product and they contacted me, and then they walked me through the magazine, and it's just an incredible magazine. I was very impressed with everything I saw, and I was, it ended up costing me $1,000.
And how long does that run for?
We're going to run it online for 6 months.
Okay.
And I think the magazine is 3 months.
Okay.
But they're also going to this big seminar for doctors and neonatal nurses and out in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be there with the magazine. And my ad is going to be in it. So I thought that was really important. Not only am I getting the patients, but this is going to be visible to the doctors and the nurses.
Right. So tell me a little bit about. So you had mentioned FEMA and these things. You're selling to organizations. You have a big vision for this. It sounds like to be used for so many different things. I didn't even think of the FEMA, and that's it just clicks. Of course, what a great idea.
It does. And so, I've been thinking right off the bat, I thought of FEMA, that it's not easy getting, in front of the government. I'm just working on that now. They require that you have a couple years, under your belt, some sales to prove the product and your stability. So it is a working process. Nothing, even day by day, it took 3 or 4 months of working before I got to them. So just because they see it, they're not going to be knocking down the doors.
Right.
To get it.
So the Bye Bye Babies, so you met them at the ABC Kids Trade Show, and then you followed, did you reach out to them afterwards? And tell me about that 3 to 4 month process. What was that like?
Oh, it's a lot of emails and waiting. They'll say, we have so much to look through. We'll get back with you. And so, I would just tell them if I happen to talk to them on the phone, well, I'll follow up in a month and a half, give you a little bit of time, And then, so they, it just takes a lot of follow-up. FEMA, I've been with them now 3 or 4 different times, just waiting for, I sent him just what I did yesterday. He said, I haven't had a chance to catch up with the guy that I need to get it to. So I thought, well, I'm going to send him a new product. I'm going to send it to him. Good. And I told him, take this and just set it on his desk and tell him to call you about it. and so you have to be really creative about how you're going to get to these people, because, nobody's got time for you, so you have to make it as easy for them as you can. And one of the things that I want to just go back to briefly about the trade shows. Don't try to have a whole booth to yourself. If you can find somebody that you could share a booth with to cut that price in half, it's well worth it. Then all of a sudden the whole show costs you travel, hotel and everything costs you $2,000 instead of $2,000 plus $1,000. So make sure, you have a product that you have synergy with, that product that you take into that booth that you're sharing with, then overwhelm your product. I did that a couple times. They're going to glance at your booth, and if they have a bigger display, and say it's a stuffed animal, and I have a water bottle, they're just going to see stuffed animal. They're not even going to stop. So be careful with that. So I'm kind of backtracking here, but I wanted to check that they will all, trade shows might not let you split a booth, that you could get a hold of somebody, without high charge, that you could go in under somebody else's name, and then, once you're in at the show, it's okay.
Okay. Is that okay by the people putting on the show, or it's okay? Wink, wink.
It's okay, wink, wink. No, because they'll charge you like $500. Now, to share a booth. Now, the downside of that is you're not recognized. So if I go in with ABC Company, then that's how it's listed in the book.
Right.
But when you're at the show, you're handing out all kinds of stuff. And, and it's the flyer that they look at more than the book.
Right. That's so interesting. Okay, that's a good how to be scrappy tip.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't tell me, right?
So I want to go through, so you're in these stores and they're selling. Do you basically take whatever your profits are and put it back into the product and new products? Is there anything left over for you at this point?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. I haven't gotten a paycheck in the 3-4 years that I've been working on this.
Right. It takes a long time to build a business. So what are you hoping for? What does the future hold? I know we didn't go that much into social media just because I know that you're really starting out there. I think you were telling me you don't do a lot of online marketing and you're just going to start to maybe reach out to bloggers and deal sites and the whole online world. Is that right?
Exactly. I have to figure out how to work that. I do everything by myself so far. And so I don't want to have a really strong online campaign because it's going to be me packing everything.
Right.
And I've already talked to 2 different sources about handling, this e-commerce business should it take off. And so I'm starting to go after it now because, I've got the wheels in motion, for help.
Right. Great.
So you always have to think real far ahead. Something else, kind of, jumping all over the place, but with money, talking about money and how much tied up it is. Go to your city. A lot of times, if you're opening a business in your town and they know you, they have revolving loans that are, low interest. Go to your bank and get pre-approved so that when this stuff starts to happen, you know exactly how much money you have to work with. And most of the time they say they'll work with you as you have a purchase order. They'll overextend what they normally give you with the purchase order. Be careful that's all stuff that you should do ahead of time.
Wow, very interesting. That is a good tip.
You go to these trade shows and you don't know. You might pick up, somebody that wants it right away. So you have to be ready.
Yeah, good for you. No, that's a great tip. Okay, so I want to kind of go through, since we have to wrap up here a little bit, is, what is the entrepreneurial trait that you feel, personal trait that you feel is most important that's helped you succeed through these years?
Tenacity.
Yeah.
You go to bed, your highs are really high, lows are really low, and you just have to wake up in the morning every day. It's got to be a fresh start. Whatever happened yesterday, you just got to get over it and cannot procrastinate. Whatever that nemesis was yesterday, you have to tackle that. So it is. You can't let any angle of this business or this process overwhelm you.
Yeah. Good for you. So I called you a grandmapreneur. I don't know if I just made up that word, but you're a mompreneur too, but the idea came to you as a grandma. So are you working on this full time? You have the time. So that's a huge benefit for being a grandmapreneur.
Right, exactly. I don't know how people would do it.
Yeah.
That's what I did for the first couple of years I was working on it. I was working full time. Well, I had a 7 until 5 job. So I couldn't, there was no way to talk to manufacturers. I have to go on vacation day to go and take care of my business.
Right.
So I was kind of fortunate being able to, retire, have my years and then retire.
Yeah, that is. I think that's a benefit.
Luxury. Yeah, that was a luxury and probably the key thing, along with a husband that was very supportive. Make sure you have that in order, too.
Well, that's great. I think you've given a lot of great advice throughout this. I think it's going to be hugely valuable, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to... Oh, good. Thanks. So I wanted to just say that, thank you for sharing your story and being so open and honest, because I think that's what really is going to help the people who are watching this. I want them to be able to learn from other people's challenges and their successes. So Baby Flipple. So the name of your company is Flipple, but your website is Baby Flipple.
Right. Somebody already has Flipple.
I saw that. Okay. So it's Flipple can be
Baby Flipple.
Okay. Flipple can be found online at www.babyflipple with 2 P's le.com. For our viewers and listeners, if you like what you heard today, please subscribe to our monthly newsletter so we can make you aware of future interviews. I promise not to spam you. It will just be used for, any major announcement and newsletters. So if you're interested in hearing from specific founders or interested in advertising or sponsoring, please contact me, Rachel, Rachel, at bestmomproducts.com. Thank you, and until next time. So, Linda, I'm going to